If you are a Salesforce developer appearing for a Salesforce interview, these questions are for you. So the question number one is, inside wire, can we make an Apex call to make a DML on a record? So basically, wire is used to read the data. Okay, so basically wire is just used to read the data from Salesforce. So on load of the component, if you want to pull the data from the Salesforce, that's where we use wire. Wire cannot make a DML. Just think about it. Wire runs whenever the component is reloaded, and every time you are reloading the component, the values are getting populated. That does not make sense, right? It's much more better if you pull the data from wire. So basically wire is used to read the data from Salesforce. You cannot make any DML to it. Let's move on to the next question, that when firing an event, what does composed equals to true means? Now to answer this question simply, let's go to this auto draw. So right now, whenever we are going to, for an LWC component, usually there is a DOM, right? And along with this DOM we have one more thing called as a shadow DOM. Okay, basically this shadow DOM is used for encapsulation purposes. That is a complete different story, but we have a DOM and a shadow DOM. Let's say you're firing an event. Now there is one more line between the shadow, this DOM and the shadow DOM. That's what we call as a shadow boundary. Okay, I'm going to name it as SB. Sorry for my drawing, but this will be SB, that is shadow boundary. Now whether your event can pass through the shadow boundary or not, okay, from the both ways, okay, to shadow DOM to the main DOM or main DOM to the shadow DOM, can it pass through the shadow boundary or not? This is defined with this property named as composed equal to true. This means if while firing an event, if composed equals to true, this means your event can pass or can be passed from the shadow DOM to the DOM or DOM to the shadow DOM, okay, from the shadow boundary basically. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Now what is exactly the shadow DOM in LWC? So as I've already explained, there's a DOM and there's a shadow DOM. Now basically what this shadow DOM does is it encapsulates your LWC component. Okay, it encapsulates your LWC component, and now what this encapsulation does is that it keeps your LWC component of unaffected of another component. So if you are making changes to some, let's say there are two components A and B, this shadow DOM, what it will do is it will encapsulate your A component and the B component separately. Now whenever you're going to make changes to the A component, B won't be affected, or B, whenever changes are made, or if the HTML and CSS make any changes to to this particular component, it won't affect the A component. So they are completely encapsulated from each other, and that's the reason why we use shadow DOM. So if you found this video helpful, I request you to please like this video and subscribe to my channel.